All right, everybody, welcome back. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN on Radio Row in Miami. And, of course, we have Super Bowl 54 this Sunday on 97.3 ESPN. We'll talk a little bit about that, life, and everything in general right now. Now, yesterday you heard Mike Golic Jr. here. We're going to have to play Get to Know with his father, Mike Golic Sr., who is with us. We'll do that in just a little bit. But you always know we're this area, we always love to hear from our former Gang Green greats, such as yourself. Mike Golic Sr., welcome back.
I appreciate that. I'm sorry you had to get to know my son because I've gotten to know him for 30 years and I'm ready to give him back.
Wait till you hear some of his answers.
Yeah, you're gonna get to know him a little bit too much here in a minute.
Did he try and use big words and stuff like that?
No.
Mr. Academic All-American at Notre Dame, whoop-de-doo, whatever. I could have been that if I tried.
He said respect a lot.
Respect. Then he wasn't talking about me, was he?
Well, I know, as you know, Andy Reid is our area, a very polarizing figure.
Yes.
And we've been kind of bringing it up all last week and this week as we've talked to different people as to why they feel Andy has not gotten this full gratification or this outpouring of, I want to give this guy a hug and love him from the Eagle fans. We say this all the time. They like Buddy more than they like Andy.
Yes.
Buddy never won, and Andy won a lot. But Buddy, personality over performance in Philadelphia,
blows
right?
my mind. It blows my mind. Listen, I mean, if you're a defensive player, you always love playing for Buddy Ryan. Don't get me wrong. But we won. We didn't win. We won in the playoffs. Didn't go anywhere. I mean, people always get mad at me when I talk about, like, the greatest defenses, especially one-year defenses, and I don't put our defense in the conversation. I said we never closed the deal. Yeah. You know, we didn't close the deal like, you know, a Baltimore Raven team or an 85 Bears team, you know. So they won championships, and we never did that. And Andy Reid, I mean, my God, all he did was get to NFC championship games and won Super Bowl. And I know he was there 14 years, so I can't sit there and say they couldn't get him out fast enough. But I don't think he gets nearly the respect that he deserves from a player standpoint. Let me tell you what, it's about wins and losses. That's what pro ball is about. And he won. He won a lot, and he put that team in position to go to more than a few Super Bowls. Didn't do it. You know what it reminded me of? When my brother was in Cleveland and Marty Schottenheimer.
Right.
Marty would get him to that AFC title game, get it close, but not over the hump, and then they got rid of him as well. And it's like, man, I mean, you're one game away. I get it if you're not making the playoffs or you just make the playoffs and you can't get any further, but, I mean, you're one game away and just saying we're going to dump somebody because we're not getting there. I'm like, okay.
It's
almost worse.
Not even the fact that they finally said after four, like, look, okay, it's time to move on. It's the fact that almost the lack of appreciation for what they did over that time.
I mean, and listen, we know the Philly fans, man. They love you when they win, and if you don't win, they're going to let you know, and that's cool. I have no problem with that. Andy won. I mean, he won. So to me, that's about it. Yeah. Okay, if he didn't win enough,
the big one.
He didn't win enough, then Buddy Ryan didn't win nearly as much. Yet, but he is beloved. I mean, but he does have that personality that's, you know, and that's a Philly personality as well. So
yeah, that's what, you know, Mike just said, that personality over performance.
Yeah, it is.
And I said this the other day. I said, when the expectations are high in Philadelphia, forget it. Like, all bets are off from the fans' perspective, right? And then when the expectations are low, it's like the city rallies behind them.
Yep.
You know, i.e. Nick Foles in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, that man now is immortal because the expectations and the underdog story. So
yeah, and Andy never felt that rallying behind him.
Right.
I don't think.
Why was that?
I wish I had an answer.
I know.
I've talked about this more than a few times in my years at ESPN, and I still don't understand it. I am not sure why he didn't get the, I guess, respect we want to say that I thought he should have gotten there for what he did.
Yeah.
You had a front row seat, Mike, to watch Randall.
Oh, yeah.
And he was, many say, ahead of his time. You see the quarterbacks now today doing some of the stuff that he really kind of did.
Yeah.
You know, how much credit do you think he deserves for starting to bring that kind of style to the game?
Listen, I don't know if it's credit to Randall. Randall did what Randall did. I mean, he was an incredible athlete. Where what used to go on in the NFL is, even if you had a great athlete like that, he would come into the pros and they would make that quarterback fit a pro style of, oh, that was great, it's not going to work here, so we're going to move differently. But he let him do his thing. I mean, that's the key. You have these guys that have some incredible athletic ability and talent, but they get it muted when they get to the NFL, or they used to. Buddy, though, would give him credit for this, was one of the first that basically, almost to a fault the other way, said, hey, Randall, man, use what you got. Do it. You don't see someone 1-2 go, and be on your way. Now you're seeing coaches bring in a quarterback like a Lamar Jackson, a guy who's way more mobile, and kind of build the offense around them. Say, okay, we're not going to mute your talent that you had. We're gonna magnify the talent you have. We're going to build our offense around that.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest difference. And I see it more and more because you see all the 7-on-7s, where kids are younger. You see way more running quarterbacks, dual threat quarterbacks, as they call them, when they rank them out of grade school and high school and stuff like that. So I think that's the biggest difference to me, is teams are now using their talents instead of saying, well, that was great in college, but we're not doing it in the NFL.
Now, you had that buddy group with the defense.
Right.
Reggie and Jerome and, of course, yourself and Mike Pitts, and I can keep going with the rest of the defense.
Seth, Eric Allen, yeah.
And then you had the Andy teams with Donovan and Westbrook and that group. So which one do you think was more of a letdown that wasn't able to do it? Like, which one do you think the expectations were higher that to win it and
definitely
did it?
us, because they at least got to some NFC title games. We didn't get there. We were losing first round of playoffs. So they got to one game away, which I know was one of the toughest losses. Even if you lose the Super Bowl, at least you got there. Losing in that AFC or NFC championship game is tough. We never got there. With that defense that we had being one across the board and for some years, that to me, with the talent that was there that we had on that defense, I would say that was a little bit more of a letdown. I think the year that Randall got hurt in that first game when Bryce Pop caught him in the knee against the Packers, we all felt that was going to be our year. And we saw that happen in game one. We were on the sideline going, what the hell just happened? Are you kidding me? So that was, we all know where that year went with quarterback.
I've heard from some other players.
There's a few in the crowd out here.
I've heard from some other players who played for Buddy that, his philosophy was, you get in some of these games, like even a guy against maybe a Pat Mahomes, if early in the game you had a chance as a defensive player to take that 15-yard penalty but get a clear, good shot on him, that was Buddy wanted that. How much did Buddy want that in those situations? And is that something that you get in these games? I know you don't want to hurt somebody.
The whole thing with Greg Williams when he got suspended for a year for the bounty and stuff like that, my God. I mean, seriously? You know how many coaches and or players could have got suspended for doing that in the past? I mean, all right. I guess you call it honor amongst thieves. If you had a bounty on someone, if you're trying to knock someone out of a game, if there happened to be a little bit of cash on it, it could never be on an illegal hit.
Gotcha.
So I'm sure people are going, oh, great, sure. So you still knock someone out of a game, you're trying to hurt them. No, it's what my dad taught me way back when. You hit somebody as hard as you can, drive them through the ground as hard as you can. If it's a clean hit, they don't get up. That's football. That happens. So we kind of did that, at a pro level where, if it was a penalized or a dirty hit, didn't count from the money standpoint. So it had to be, a legal clean hit. So which is legal and clean. And sometimes, people don't get up. You don't want to hurt somebody, but it happens. Yeah. Did that answer your question? Okay?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, we're going to.
I think it would have been fun to play for Buddy.
Let me tell you what. As a defensive player, one of the great stories I don't know if you have time.
Yeah.
We were. When we're not involved in practice, we basically laid down on the field, laid on a block and dummy or something like that, and we were down at our end of the field. And when Rich Kotite took over the team, I remember at one point, I think it was Dave Archer was a backup at some point. One of the backup quarterbacks told us his story, said Kotite was at like the 50-yard line looking down by us, and we were just basically laid out everywhere, just taking a break. And the quarterback said to him, Richie, why you let those guys just do whatever they want? And Richie, and everybody tries to do that accent and throwing in a couple of beats. Listen, that's the best bleeping defense in the National Football League. They can do whatever the bleep they want.
There you go.
And I'm not going down there. And I was like, cool, all right.
There you go.
That works.
And I'm just coattail riding at that point. Reggie and all those, the guys on that defense were unbelievable.
Yesterday we played with your son. We played with Stu Gotts.
Right.
And now it's time for Let's Get to Know Mike Golic Sr. Are you ready?
Do you care?
Well, if you're not prepared for the pressure of these
How
questions.
do I prepare? I mean, there's no preference.
You can't. It's like an SAT.
Life prepared me for this.
There
right?
we go. Yes.
Okay.
Everything has led to this.
Mike Golic Sr. Short shower, long shower.
Oh, long shower. Long, hot shower, and pray there's a bench in there to sit down.
Oh, you got to love a nice bench shower.
That's not bad.
Phenomenal.
All right, here we go. And this is going to be an interesting one to compare to Junior.
Yes.
How many second graders do you think you can fight off before becoming overwhelmed?
I would say second graders. So what's the age of a second grader?
We're talking 8 years old.
7, 8 years old.
This is
maybe
what
9.
Junior started with yesterday.
Can they have like?
That's exactly the first question he asked.
Can they have like pencils or protractors or any
it's
kind
a
of
clean
weapon?
fight.
They're just coming at you.
Just coming at me.
By your feet.
I would say in the area of 15.
15.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's a respectable answer.
Closer
Yeah.
to Stu.
You know what
Guys.
your son said?
he say-
200.
Oh, he's a 200.
I said, dude, when you get to double digits, you're in trouble.
200.
200. He said they didn't have the mental capacity, and he just blasted them.
I guess it could be more in the fact that this is horrible. We're saying this, but you could really incapacitate a few of them quickly. You know?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It depends your stamina.
That's exactly. That's really
Yeah,
it.
that's-
You start huffing and puffing and throwing
You're in
up. It's
trouble.
over.
Yeah, you're in
Mike
trouble.
Golic Sr., you are a early riser.
Yes.
So when the alarm goes off, do you get up right away, or do you hit the snooze?
This is amazing, and Mike doesn't understand this because he sets 9,000 alarms. I set one alarm. I have for every year I've done the morning show, one alarm. It goes off at 4:15, and I lay there until 4:20. And never once have I been late for a show where I've fallen back asleep and missed.
Well done.
Admirable.
Yeah.
Wow.
He said,
so
yeah,
you
he has
shut
the
the alarm
Alexa.
off.
I
At
shut
5
the alarm
minutes.
off, and I lay there for another few minutes.
He has the Alexa as a backup, your son.
And Mike is ridiculous. The amount of alarms.
You sleep in the same room.
He
Is this how you know this?
he shows them to me. He should have showed you on his phone the number of alarms. It's a joke.
I'm unfortunately similar to your
you damn
son.
millennials.
All right. Yeah, I knew you'd go there. Who would win in a real fight? A Chief or a 49er?
Wow.
They fought at halftime of the Heat game the other night. Two mascots came out.
Did they?
Sourdough.
It got ugly.
What the heck was-
Sourdough
49.
Sam.
I gotta figure, man. You're a miner. You're going to the mines. You got to be pretty tough, though. I don't know how
you've
big.
seen some
I don't know
things.
how big you can be, though. Going in the mines, I don't know how actually
there
the
could be
size.
like a height limit,
but
like a
man,
bunk.
you got to be scrappy.
You do.
Scrappy.
You do. Yeah.
Out to
So I
dinner.
think I'll go with the 49er.
I like it.
Out to dinner with friends. Mike Golic Sr. splits the bill, itemizes, or pays the whole thing.
I pay the whole thing.
All right.
Pay the whole thing. And my kids, now that they all have jobs and are all making good money, have still never once reached for the friggin' check themselves.
There is
Not
a fine
once.
line of you're going to lunch with Dad, and Dad's always paying, and then you try, and Dad's like, you're not paying for it.
No.
You
I
just
would
give up.
I would let my kids pay. I would let them.
That's why
but-
they don't even read.
And
They're
I
not
bring
even playing that game.
I bring it up, and they say, "Oh, it's out of respect, Dad. We know you still want to pay the bill." I'm like, I really don't. I really don't. Feel free, but yeah, no, I pick up the bill.
All right, here we go. If you were a fart,
A who?
a fart,
Okay.
would you rather be the loud and proud type
Yeah.
or the silent but deadly type?
Loud. Let's just go.
Loud and proud.
I'm here.
That's straight across the board.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's been the
I'm
consistent
I'm
answer.
here.
Okay.
And I want to let you know I'm here. And you know what? Not only am I here, I'm going to linger.
The silent but deadly is a lingering
I know.
type
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
is. I want everybody to know it was me, though.
Okay.
All right. Our last question
Yeah.
for Mike Golic Sr. When you do pickup, do you tip the counter person?
That is one of the great questions. I tip, but I don't tip the normal if I'm sitting. in.
He's on my side.
I
what
tip
do you
a
tip?
smaller, like
$2.
10%.
just a few bucks.
Yeah.
It's just because normally it's for me and my wife, so not even a lot of times. It might not even be 10% sometimes.
That's what I said to Junior. Like the portions, I think, play a factor.
Well, yeah, how much it is.
Yeah, if
and
you get a
stuff, I
party
it.
tray.
Yeah, I would
But like
tip a
if
little
I'm
more.
going to get I don't know, a pizza.
Yeah.
And it's like $26.85. What am I? It's the crack now that when you pay with a debit card, asked you.
It does, and it gives you the amount I hate that.
I hate that line right through.
Yeah, I don't like that. It's like, wait a minute, don't just think I'm doing it.
You're right.
Let me do it on my own. Yeah,
and that compels me to say, "Oh, right."
Yeah, exactly.
You get nothing.
Here's nothing in my Mike Golic Sr. tomorrow morning, 6 to 10, right here on 97.3 ESPN. Who you picking?
I have the Chiefs 28-24.
28-24. You heard Mike in Get to Know, and he was a part of the Sports Bash on Radio Row. Thank you, pal.
You got it. All right, see you.
Thanks, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Mike Golic Sr., everybody, here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. We're back with plenty more in Miami after this.